Over the next few weeks, we're going to take a look at this app design process, the 6 steps. It came from a guy who wrote for Smashing Magazine, and he's a professional app designer himself. He does that for a career, and so he thought about what he did and broke it down into 6 different steps that he does when he builds apps. So we're going to look at those steps over the next few weeks. This week, we're going to focus on idea. So the first step is coming up with an idea. And I really want you to think about just the fact that this is not just a simple step. There's a lot more to it than just coming up with an idea and moving forward with the building part. So with professional app design, there's kind of 2 different ways you can look at it. Sometimes you yourself are the one who comes up with the idea, and then you pitch it to a client. So you ask somebody else, like, hey, can you sponsor me as I work on this idea? And then the other way you look at it is maybe the client has an idea and he gives it to you and says, hey, this is what I want. Can you build this? So you start with an idea. And the person who wrote this article said, keeping your idea malleable and changing for as long as possible is, in my experience, much healthier and leads to far better end results. So he's really stressing the importance that you keep your idea changing. Allow for some change. Be flexible. Don't just stick with the original idea you had, but be willing to allow your idea to change. And you'll get much better results if you do that. So on that note, he kind of came up with this little idea cycle. So the first step is generate. That means you come up with the idea. And then you challenge it. And I'm going to go over some questions in a minute that you can look at to ask yourself about the idea. Or if you share the idea with someone else, these are some questions they might ask you. So you challenge the idea. And then based on the answers to those questions and the challenges, you revise it, you change it until you have kind of a new idea. It'll be similar to the original one, but it will be new. So that's generating a new idea again. And then again, you challenge it and revise, and you just keep going through these 3 steps until your idea is pretty firm. And some of the questions that you might ask with this idea: do you have the time to make it happen? And I think that's huge. This guy said that most of the app ideas he's come up with or had someone share with him, they fall flat on that question, he says. And I know I've seen that happen too in my own class. Sometimes students will have an app idea, and unfortunately, they don't have the time to make it happen in my class, the amount of time that I give them. And a lot of times, like this guy said, I underestimate how much time it takes. And I think, yeah, you can get that done, but it actually takes a lot longer than what I originally think. So always expect it to take longer than you imagine it would take. Do you have the finances to make it happen? So in real app designing, as a professional career, it does cost money to do the different things that you need to do with the app designing. So do you have the finances? Do you have are you capable of doing it according to finances? Is a technology capable of making it happen? I think that's a really important one to think about in this class. If you come up with an idea and you want to build it, does the app program that we have the capabilities, have the technology to make it happen? Because there are limitations to different programs that you might use in app building. So you have to decide whether or not that particular program is capable of doing your idea. Is someone else already doing this? So is there another app out there already that's similar to yours that you could look at and do some reverse engineering to kind of figure out how to create yours? And can it be made simpler or differently? So is your app a little bit too complicated? Can you make some changes to just kind of make it a little bit more straightforward? So those are just a few questions that you can think about to ask yourself or ask others when you see some of their app ideas. And so finally, I just want you to kind of think about the engineering design process and how this first step is a lot like the first 4 steps in the engineering design process. So hopefully you should be familiar with this process, but you identify the problem, you research the problem, brainstorm solutions, and then choose a solution. So all of this can be involved in that first idea generating cycle that you go through with app design.